Bacon time. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Dads with Bacon Talking Sports. I am your host, Aaron Ludwig, and with me, as always, is my crew here. Let me bring them on. We got Marco, we got Troy, we got TJ. Our two of our comrades here, Ben and Brad, are on vacation enjoying
Killer bees.
Yeah, the end of the 4th of July week. So hopefully they're starting to sober up. I don't know. Brad was saying he might join us, so who knows? But I know Ben was at the Brewers game earlier today where got to see them actually hold on to beat the Cubs instead of choking it away like they did.
5-3 at that point. I don't know what it ended up.
Got a little help from the umpires today. A little bit of help from the umpires.
Yeah. That's what you had said. Oh, Brad is going to get on. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay,
cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But so you know that the Brewers. Let's just get started with our baseball talks. So we're going to lead it off as we're coming on to the All Star weekend, and obviously this isn't just a Brewers show, but the Brewers are heading into a series this weekend with the surprising Reds. Reds right now 2 games in front of the Brewers for first, so it's a 3-game series. Brewers could end up in first place by the end of the weekend and by the All Star break. So. Oh, go Reds! I'm assuming that might be Mark, our friend Mark. Is that him? I don't. Again, I can't see all the comments that are on here. If you're on Facebook, you might not be able to.
You might not be logged into StreamYard.
Yeah, exactly. So go
or
Reds.
Whatever platform you're using.
Mark is a big. You know what? I will say this: the Reds are one of those teams where I have a hard time rooting against them. You know, except obviously I'm a Brewers fan. But if the Brewers were, say, where the Cardinals are right now, I'd probably be cheering for the Reds. Only because they're that young team, and to me, they've been down on their lucks for so long. You know, for the most part, for the last decade at least. That it's kind of like the Detroit Lions in the NFC North. I have a hard time, other than being a Packers fan, cheering against them or hating on them. The Reds are kind of the same way. They're young, and apparently I heard this morning on the radio there was some incident in this last series that they just played against, was it the Nationals?
Oh, yeah, with only the Blues, yeah.
Yeah, where they checked his bat.
Yeah.
They wanted to check his bat, and then apparently the very next at bat, he just crushed one and then kind of turned around and showed his bat to the ump like, you want to check this one too? And apparently it sounds like, I believe it was the manager for the Nationals was a little pissy about that, but it's like, shut up. I don't actually mind that. If they were playing against the Brewers and he did that, I'd probably be a little different story, but I don't mind a little bit of that showmanship as long as it doesn't get, too out of hand. So
he did pimp that home run pretty good though. That was good.
Yeah,
and
that was a pimp strut.
And I guess he had that approved. It's like a little rubber extension to the knob, and he had that approved.
Okay.
I'm not for it. I don't think you should have it. That sounds like you're cheating to me. I mean, can't put anything.
So the one thing too, if you look at his hand, now they showed it to him. He actually has a massive indent in his hand. And so it actually gives him more feel underneath that bat.
Yeah, it definitely has a purpose. He's not using it for show. But yeah, that guy's a beast. The Reds are a team for me. Like it seems like every time I go to a Cubs game, they're always playing the Reds. It's like you're like one of those things. Like, oh, here I am watching the Reds again. And then the beef, the Cubs have beef with everybody. Everybody hates the Cubs. But the beef with the Reds and the Cubs, as of late, has always been fun and fiery. I don't think any of those players. There was a Baez thing for a while. That's always exciting. I always like when they get fired up. But I think I'll be pulling for the Brewers going into the break. I like to see the Brewers fall at the end after being on top. I'd like to see them be in first place. And all you Wisconsin.
So that's why you're cheering for them, so they set themselves up for the big fall. Got it. That's okay. That's all right. I was wondering because earlier today you said go Cubs. When they were playing, obviously because you're a Cubs fan. I realized that, but I thought that was kind of strange that you just said that. I'm like, okay, there's got to be some method to Marco's madness here, right?
Yeah,
cheering for the Brewers.
While the Cubs figure out if they're going to do anything, compete or score runs.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the All Star game and the festivities. We got the home run derby, where let's see, we now has okay, he's not even in because Mike Trout is officially out, obviously, because he broke his wrist
4 to 8 weeks
for the All Star game. At least he wasn't in the Derby, but for some reason I kept thinking Ohtani was in the Derby, and I know he's kind of beat up, but it doesn't even look like he's in it.
No,
to this list. So
I don't know how long they're going to let those guys go to waste. I mean, Trout. How long's Trout been hyped up now? And yeah, he's a hell of a player, right? But like, I mean, he's never going to get any recognition until he gets to a team that wins. And just he's never been to the playoffs, right? Am I right? Since he's been,
I don't believe he's ever been to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy.
But part of that isn't part of that on him. I mean, the guy doesn't seem to have the personality. Like if he goes to a champion, like let's say he goes to the Yankees or he goes to the Dodgers or he goes to any other team that is more popular than the Angels. I guess some of that, he almost reminds me of kind of like the Tim Duncan of baseball. He just doesn't have much of a personality. I mean, he's a winner. He's a great player, but so I agree with you.
Is he a winner?
Yeah, is he a winner?
I mean, to be quite honest, he's been on a team every single year of his career that hasn't made the playoffs. I
was going to say, I'd love to see what his career win-loss record is. It can't be 500.
Which is a great argument. Which is a great argument on why WAR is the most meaningless statistic ever. Because he probably has like whatever a good WAR number would be.
Yeah,
probably has great WAR, but
probably like a 3 or something. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, 13 seasons, and you've never been to the playoffs.
Is that how long he's been in the league now? 13 years.
Yeah, his first year was 2011.
Damn.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, he's only 31. Yeah. He started when he was 19, almost 20. So,
sure.
He's still got a little bit of tread on the tires. For an early 30-year-old in baseball is not old, especially if you're a pitcher, not a pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah. So and considering the DH is around now too. I mean, how long can you hang around, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So he's passed Ken Griffey Jr. in career WAR. He's got an 82 WAR. That'll be the greatest WAR of all time. And you've never played in the playoffs. This stat means nothing.
I'd like to declare war on the commissioner's trophy in Major League Baseball.
In some ways, you got to respect it, right? Because he's not asking to be traded. He doesn't want. He wants to try to help build this team. But in another sense, dude, nothing's happening there. They keep trying to build a team there and nothing's happening. At some point, you got to be like, okay, maybe it's not, maybe it's just not working. We need to part ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the Padres though, too. I mean, they just keep throwing money at people and it doesn't seem to be doing them any good. So after a while, it's like, is it the management? Baseball is one of those. Well,
let's talk about the Mets if you want to say that.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The stat is wrong. Mike Trout has been to the playoffs one time.
Oh, he has.
Oh, okay.
He's been to the playoffs once in 2014.
I guess
and they got swept by the Royals 3-0.
I guess WAR does matter then. Shut up, Marco. All right, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Go
take your WAR somewhere else.
The man with 1,003 hot takes. Jeez, screw your WAR hot take. Okay, all right. So let's let's actually talk. I want to talk more. I think the more interesting conversation right now, especially at the halfway point for baseball, is some of the second half, players that could be on the move. I mean, because that's always kind of the more interesting. I guess I will say this: do any of you guys still care about the Major League Baseball All Star game, or is it that one All Star game that actually people still kind of pay attention to?
No, I mean, I'll probably have it on in the background, maybe. Yeah. But I actually liked when it meant something, and the home field advantage. They took that away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but and then it used to be cool. You see, a player from every team, and when the Cubs are stinking, who's the one Cub that would get out there? But now you get some guys that don't even play. Pitchers that won't play. You get guys that aren't going to show up, and it's just. It's cool for the game. I like the game, but I think if they could put in some more activities, like if you could do ground ball competition, right? See how many ground balls you can hit, or like a bunting competition. So things like that to make it fun.
Yeah, man, to do a speed base run. Who can run the bases the fastest?
Yeah. Until somebody twists their ankle, right?
Right, exactly, right. It's always going to be like that until somebody gets hurt. And even the home run derby, the way they changed the format, where it's more, like a a tournament and it goes in rounds and they're seeded and such, it kind of takes away from it. But I'll still watch them smack dingers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree, and I think the NFL needs to do the exact same thing. The games are meaningless at this point. So why are you even putting the players in the position to even possibly get hurt? Like, if it means, you're telling us it means nothing, it does mean nothing.
Yeah.
What's the point?
And there's been blowouts every once in a while. You'll get like a cool matchup where you get, but are they really given 100% when, I don't think so.
Yeah.
One of our commenters even said the same thing there. So
yeah. The pitch clock will tick me off too. So anyway.
Oh my gosh.
I'm grumpy old man Marco today.
Okay, so let's look. Are there any players? And I don't know if you guys want to go into our group chat. Now, this is terrible.
I pulled it up.
You pulled it up. Okay, yeah. So
I mean, nobody's really.
Well, my big one, and obviously it's the one that, in fact, they were talking about last night on one of the national radio shows. And I don't think he's even actually on this list, but I think he's the one that's worth talking about the most. Is Ohtani. I don't know how. And I didn't unfortunately get a chance to look up his actual. He's not. I don't think he's even on the list unless I missed him. Anyway, I believe he might have one more year left on his contract.
I know it's coming up
with the Angels if it's not up after this season.
This is the year.
Is it the year? Okay. So yeah, I can't believe he's even on there. Not even on there. But anyway,
he signed a 1 year, $30 million last year in order to kind of keep his options open. So he will be 100% unrestricted next season.
So if you're Ohtani, I guess Brad, we'll start with you. If you're Ohtani, and let's say, what do you think it would take for you to stay in Anaheim?
Oh, geez. I mean, I guess as a player, I would have to think that you're going to have to go out and either spend money and get players beyond Mike Trout. I mean, really, again, when you got one playoff season in the past almost 20 years, your franchise has to have visual dedication as to, what are you doing in order to change this, and not just visual, but like results based change in transactions. To be quite honest, I don't think he re-signs in LA. I think he ends up somewhere else. I think that 100% you can definitely count the Yankees in for bringing the Brinks truck. You can count the Cubs in for bringing the Brinks truck.
Does he stay in LA?
Yeah, honestly, I think maybe even the Dodgers try to sneak in there and get him to play on the other side of town. And so I think there's a lot. I mean, I think this transaction solely, I don't care where he goes. I'd love for him to go to the Cubs. Don't get me wrong. And the Cubs have got plenty of cash to do it too. That I think this may be one of the most intriguing transactions in baseball in a long time.
Yeah.
Because of this guy's just ability to do anything. He can literally do anything on the field, and he's the most valuable asset in Major League Baseball.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of anyone who's been more valuable, in my opinion, in my lifetime. I mean, we're talking almost 50 years of watching baseball.
Yeah, and I've never seen a player
recall anybody who
does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't remember any player even trying to do what he does in my, I
mean, there were some good pitchers that are good. Yeah, there were some good hitting pitchers, but they would only hit, on their
Carlos Zambrano.
Carlos,
the big Z train was a big hitter.
I mean, I remember Mike Hampton was a really good hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few of them. There's a few of them out there. I mean, even a lot of the Braves' good pitching staff back then were good hitters. Glavine was a good hitter.
It's a culture thing within MLB, right? They make you decide, because a lot of times coming out of high school, your best player is the shortstop and the pitcher is usually the best hitter, and they and then they bring them into the system, and it's like, nope, we need your arm. A lot of times, we'll find the hitter, but they really want the arm. And the Braves did that with their first round pick, Owen Murphy out of RB. Went to school with my son. He knocked the cover off the ball, but they want him to pitch, so he's just pitching. And that's just something that I think. Will we see somebody take another gamble with a prospect that where they're like, okay, let's see if they can keep it up and stay hitting and pitching. I think because Ohtani came from the Japanese system, they didn't focus on one particular strength. They focused on all his strengths. I mean, he was a stud at 18 coming out, and they didn't pigeonhole him as a pitcher or as a hitter like we do here.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when he's not pitching, he's just DHing. He's not fielding, correct?
Yeah, he's just DHing.
Yeah.
Is he? Okay.
So,
well, really, I mean, that doesn't.
I'm sure they want to save his arm and let it rest for his off days, right?
Sure.
You know?
So then maybe that I wonder if that points to, if that factors into where he goes, instead of going to the Dodgers, where or some other, the Padres or somewhere else.
Well, I think with the DH being in both leagues, it doesn't matter anymore. So it's
Oh, is it? Oh, they did change that, didn't they?
Perfect storm. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, yeah. Then it doesn't matter. Okay, I forgot that they.
So anyway, yeah. I mean,
but now your pitcher can hit if you choose, correct? Because he hits when he pitches, doesn't he?
Yes, correct.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know how the substitutions work. Like, if you pull him out, can then you put a DH in for him, or does that pitcher need to hit every time that when he comes out? I don't know how that works. I don't know.
Huh. That's something we'll have to look up. Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, let's move on then and talk about the next topic. We kind of passed over the All-Star all game, but we already went over. That's what we're still working on the timing thing. Okay. So this week we are starting our divisional preview for the NFL, getting ready for the upcoming NFL season. And I decided, since Troy, you were back this week, and I didn't know Brad was going to be back. Otherwise, maybe I would have done the NFC North instead. But we'll do the AFC East and just kind of go over each team. We'll give our predictions. Obviously, we'll have a show, a special prediction show right before the season starts, where we go over like records and everything else. But for now, maybe just give our predictions on where we think each team will.
Our way too early preview.
Yeah, our way too early preview. That's destined to change once the preseason starts. Okay, so last year, just to recap for the AFC East, we had the Bills in first, 13-3, the Dolphins 9-8, Patriots 8-9, and the Jets pulling up the rear at 7-10. They lost 6 in a row. So at one point they were 7-4, if my math is correct there. So I think when Brees Hall went down, that hurt them. And of course, their mess at quarterback hurt them too. But so Troy, just give me. We'll start with you. Give me your opinion on the division as a whole, and even like specifically about the Bills.
I mean, there's no denying that the division's gotten tougher. The Dolphins definitely took a step in the right direction last year. They would have been right there with the Bills. Maybe I still think the Bills would have won the division if Tua was healthy all year, but it wouldn't have been by 4 games or whatever it was. It would have been closer to maybe 1 or 2. The Jets definitely upgraded their quarterback position. We'll see if the defense, can come around and do the same. If they can hold their ground, I should say. When I was talking about the defense coming around, I'm talking about the Miami defense, because they now have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. So that's a big step to see, how long that's going to take to mold. And they signed they traded for Jalen Ramsey. So now they got 2 potential all-pro cornerbacks, 2 potential all-pro wide receivers. Should make for an interesting training camp there as they're going against each other. That's for sure. And then the Patriots, it's weird to say, right? But I mean, they're pulling up the rear in this division right now. I mean, there's nothing to get excited about there. Nothing at all. I mean,
fun fact about that, but continue.
Oh, what, they're going to compete with the Cardinals for the best record in the NFL?
No. I actually found this one out today, and I don't know if you guys, if somebody knew this, I would not be surprised, but it's definitely something that kind of opened up my eyes. You know that the Patriots have never been in last place in their division since 2000, and that was Bill Belichick's first year in New England.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if whatever the Jets did last year and choked whatever they choked up, they would have been last year. That's for sure. Yeah. But here's the thing with the Bill or with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Like, there's a higher floor with the Patriots because of Belichick for sure. Like, they're probably not going to have any less than 7 wins every year. But in the same breath, without that All-Pro, All-Star, Hall of Fame quarterback, Tom Brady, I also don't see him going over 10 wins every year. So they're kind of always going to be in that 7 to 10 win range unless they get some kind of crazy quarterback in there. And I don't know who was saying it. Was it David that was saying it in our chat today that, Belichick really, what has he done without Brady? And I know, Marco, I think you jumped in on that.
Yeah.
And you can't separate them because they were together that long, right? And I get that. But in the same breath, like, he didn't do anything in Cleveland before he had Brady. They fired him.
But there was a huge argument that Brady was a system quarterback, right? And so if he's got a system and he just needs to get the guy that can get the ball out of his hands quicker and get the route runners, you put the pieces together and he can do it. And he knows how to put the pieces together. The problem is you don't look for the next Tom Brady, look for the next system quarterback that's going to fit that system. Yeah. Their defense has always been spectacular. And Belichick takes players off the scrap heap and turns them into Pro Bowl caliber players on their team. So
and then they go away to another team and come back and be Pro Bowlers.
They go get the bag. Yeah, they go get the bag and they suck, and then they come back and they win a title. So I won't count them out. I won't say, oh, it's just because of Brady, but I'll say that the division is definitely a lot tougher. And we have a new Brady in town, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
He's the MVP.
For 1 year.
Guy. He's a 4-time MVP, right? He's still got it. I don't think he's fallen off. He's going to have that locker room. There's no way that I don't think they lose 7 games, and they definitely don't lose 7 games in a row like they did to end the season, the Jets. I think if Hall comes back, they were on a tear, and their defense is formidable. I don't think they got crushed by the Bills, right? You guys, they hung tough with you guys.
I don't know. They got crushed by anybody except maybe a game or two early in the season.
They got crushed by the Jags at the end of the year, and at that point, what are they really praying for? A lot of one score games, a lot of one possession games.
Didn't they split with the Bills last year?
They did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they beat them in one of the the first game of the.
Yeah, and in fact, the first game they beat them. They played them the first time they played. They beat them, and that's the game that Allen did whatever to his UCL or whatever, and was not right the whole rest of the season after that. Really, with his short throws, a little bit too in depth here, but I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about that, and with the short intermediate throws, that's why you didn't see the Bills do so much of that late in the season, because that actually puts more torque on the elbow and the tendon there to do the short intermediate throws than to just let one launch. And that's why they were playing a lot of the long game last year. At least that was his opinion. So,
yeah. The Jets really crapped the bed at the end of the year where they got, they lost a 1 possession game to the Lions. They got smoked by the Jaguars. They got smoked by the Seahawks. And then the 11-6 thriller against the Dolphins. I don't see that happening again. I see the Jets coming out like gangbusters like they did in the beginning of the season. And I think Aaron Rodgers, maybe they hit a 1 or 2 game skid and he tells everybody to relax and he pulls them together. They do some mushrooms, and I think they're going to win the division.
Okay, so Brad, let me ask you about your thoughts on the Dolphins, because we kind of touched on the Jets here and the Bills. And a lot of people I've heard are actually picking. I've heard a lot of people picking Miami to either be second or maybe even challenge the Bills for first. What are your thoughts on that? And I know there's talk that they might be adding. They're still trying to add. What's his name?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. Thank you. So,
I've heard. I've also heard Dalvin Cook's name tied to the Patriots too. I mean, him and Ramondre would be a pretty silly killer combo.
Yeah.
Even DeAndre Hopkins has been tied there as well.
Well, it sounds like it's coming down to them, and did I hear Tennessee too?
Yeah, I mean,
or something like that. So
yeah, but anyway, if the Patriots can pick up DeAndre and Dalvin for like pretty modest contracts, I think that could really kind of change the whole New England dynamic. But I digress. I think Miami is the most the most stacked team in the division. I think on paper, they're the best overall team in the division. Offensively, they've got weapons at every position. You've got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson. In addition to having Mostert and Jeff Wilson in the backfield, who are they're better than average running backs. Their defense is, their secondary is killer. They are the best well-rounded team out of the bunch. I think it all hangs into balance with Tua. Can Tua stay healthy? If Tua can stay healthy, he can make all the passes. He can make all the throws. He's not the most athletic guy on the field. He's not going to make you miss or scramble for the 15 yards that you need all the time. But again, he's athletic enough. I think he can get the job done. So I don't know. I kind of go off the odds makers here, and I've kind of believed this order. Bills are currently plus 130 to win the division. Jets are plus 250. The Dolphins plus 290, and the New England Patriots plus 750.
Wow, that's a big. I'm surprised that's that big of a gap between New England and everybody else. But yeah,
I think that tells everybody's confidence in Mac.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And I think that's the key with Miami. I feel like is
so. Yeah, honestly, I think Aaron's influence on New York is significantly greater than what Tua's influence is in on offense in Miami. So, you could arguably say that the Jets last year were a decent quarterback away from being one of the best 3 teams in that conference.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that was brought to light when Hall went down. Hall went down, and you had no running game, and now you got to rely on Zach Wilson or Mike White or whoever the hell is behind center, and it just kind of exposed their biggest weakness when Hall went down. So, okay, TJ, now you're the one that has you showed us your notebook. Okay, let's give us your rundown on the AFC East.
So, go ahead and laugh at me now because this was complete and total crackhead mode when I got home.
Just don't say the Patriots are winning the division. That's if you can say anything but that, and you'll be okay.
Damn it, how'd you know? How'd you know that I thought that they won the division? No, I actually have them losing. So, it was kind of funny. I actually sent a picture of this to my friend. And he is a diehard Patriots fan. And he told me that I am never allowed to come back to his house. There's one enemy for this season already. No, so my biggest thing, and I did a lot of reading today. I literally had nothing to do at work, and I didn't want to fall asleep because I probably would have fell asleep in the truck. But I did a lot of kind of just research off of last year coming into this season and what were the highs and lows coming into each team. And the biggest thing that I came on to, and Troy, I don't know if, you being a Bills fan, I feel like you can actually nip this in the butt more because here in Maryland, we like to just stir the pot of drama no matter where it is. But they are still on that Diggs not coming in for that mandatory minicamp for one day, and they're thinking that Diggs is done with the Bills.
He was there. There was some sort of disagreement, and that's not come out yet. Rumor is that he wasn't happy with some of the play calling when the game was getting tight, and it didn't seem like they were going to him as much, or running patterns for him to get open rather than just kind of keeping him as a decoy. I think that was the majority of the disagreement. He was there. They sent him home to cool off so they could come back and discuss it. And second day he was there and participated.
And that's the big thing too, because everybody's they're gonna feed off that. Oh, your superstar player, he's not there. That's gonna skyrocket for the rest of the season, and then you're gonna see it. Week 5, they're still gonna be talking about it.
Yeah. Well, anytime they're losing or there's gonna be any type of what's the word I'm looking for? Turmoil. That's the first thing they're gonna say. Oh, when's Diggs gonna flip off? Here we go. That's gonna be the first thing that's gonna pop up. But
yeah, and I think he's an easy target too. That's
He's got history. He's done it before, as our friend of the show said.
Somebody said that he did this with the Vikings. So this is my thing. I feel like all that is done and over with. So now it's a fresh slate clean slate for this season. I think, when they lost to the Chiefs, right? Stephon stood out there and watched the Chiefs as they celebrated. He does it every year. I mean,
Yeah.
He stands out there. I think this is the year that he
Oh,
finally.
not last year. He didn't. He was pretty pissed last year.
Yeah. But I think offensively, I think they're good. I think they're ready to play. They're ready to see what they can do. My favorite thing for the Bills this year is going to be their defense. Matt Milano is really firing off this year. I've watched a couple of their little, mini camps, whatever. He looks stout. He looks good. He looks like a solid linebacker who's going to come out there and just knock somebody's head off. So I feel like, he's going to have a good, running. I don't want to say he's going to be defensive player of the year, but, he could have a good running for that one. Plus, Micah Hyde's coming back and he's fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's
and Von Miller, right? Von Miller, comeback player of the year. Is he coming back?
He's. Yeah, I mean, he says he's going to, but I wouldn't push it if I were them. They need him at the end of the season. They don't need him for the first 5 games. You know what I mean?
So, I think honestly, so for this one, this is my prediction. I have the Bills winning the division with a record of 13-4. And I also put in parentheses possible Super Bowl matchup, but I don't know with who yet. Still looking that one up.
Well, it's one thing I learned. I was pretty heavy. I was pretty heavy on the Bills last year, and that came back to haunt me pretty good. So I will never predict them for the Super Bowl again until they actually prove me wrong. So.
I'm just looking at the schedule. The AFC Championship game is in Kansas City again. So okay.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Okay, so let's go around the room real quick.
I disagree with whoever just put that in there about the number one running back thing. I think they got a great stable of running backs right now. With James Cook, they picked up Damian Harris, Naeem Hines, and they also have Latavius Murray as well now. So I disagree with that running back comment there, and I don't think you need a number one running back. I actually think you're better when you have a committee at running back, to be honest.
Yeah,
my opinion.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that one too. I like the Packers. I feel have, had better seasons when they've had running backs by committee or like a couple different running backs. Yep. If you go back to their Super Bowl seasons, anyway. All right, let's go real quick. We'll start with Troy. Give me your order for the division.
I got Bills. I got the same as last year, except for switch the bottom too. I got Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots.
Okay, Marco.
Jets, Bills, Patriots, Dolphins.
Ooh, wow.
All right, Brad.
Ooh, man.
You can change it. It's
just way too early.
Like I said, this is the way too early.
Yeah, I know. Right now, I'm going to go Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Pats.
Okay, TJ.
I'm going to go Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Pats.
Okay, I'm going kind of like Marco, but a little different there. Jets, Bills, Dolphins, Patriots.
Can I said, Marco, real quick? Can I get your ear on why you think the Dolphins will be last?
I think that they're too showy. I don't like their defense, and I'm going to put this out there: Tyreek Hill is not the great pass catcher that he needs to be. And I think he's going to have a tough season if Tua doesn't play and they got a backup quarterback or somebody that can't get him the ball when they need to get him the ball. He's the number one target. He's the cheetah.
Does any of that change if Tua is healthy all year?
Yeah, it does, but I still don't think the Dolphins. I don't see them.
That just surprised me. I'm surprised. I mean, because even after Brad was saying there too, and I don't totally disagree with them. I mean, on paper, they probably have the most talent in the division, minus the most important position, right?
Yeah, I'm just not sold on them. I just don't think they're just another Miami team. No.
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? This goes back, maybe 10, 15 years ago when Philadelphia was putting together that dream team. Remember that? And
yeah.
What did they do? Did they go 8-8? I don't know. It was
yeah.
Well, I will say this about the Dolphins. I'm just not convinced, and I hope I'm wrong because I like the guy. I've always liked him, especially when all the critics were ripping on him. But I'm not convinced Tua can go a whole season staying healthy.
Yeah.
And I just and I hope I'm wrong, because one more good concussion, his career might be over. I mean,
Could be.
Well,
you know, and I'd hate to see that. I'd rather see him fail because he doesn't have the skills than fail because he keeps, getting injured all the time. But
Right.
I guess that's why I'm not convinced that he'll be healthy. And if he's not healthy, I just don't know what they have after that. So, okay, let's move on to our wrestling segment. And I know TJ said that you were able to watch Money in the Bank this past weekend.
Yes.
So why don't you give us your recap and we can kind of chime in. I know, Ben's not here for you two to kind of play off each other, but we'll pick up the slack. Oh, you did? Might watch? Okay. All right.
100%.
See, and Brad, I didn't think you were going to be
told
here,
me-
so that's why I wasn't planning on you chiming in. So, okay,
Yeah,
TJ, go ahead, give us your recap, and then Brad can feed off of that.
Well, it's funny because Brad said, "Don't ruin anything, don't spoil nothing, because I'm going to watch it later."
Oh, that's
It
right.
was so hard not to type in the chat when everything happened. Like, I actually, my wife was sitting next to me. We were watching it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my!" I was like, "Oh shit, Brad's going to find out where I live and kill me one of these days if I do this to him."
Well, if he knows where Marco used to live, I mean, you live in the same house as he does there, as he did there with that fireplace and the grand piano and all that. I mean, it's anyway. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So let's start off with the men's Money in the Bank match, the ladder match. So that I felt like they boned LA Knight. That was definitely LA Knight's match to win. But I kind of see the direction that the WWE is going with Damian Priest winning this and the whole situation between him and Finn Balor. My thoughts on that whole situation: Finn Balor is about to get kicked out of Judgment Day. Damian's going to take over and finish what Finn can't do. Reason why I say that, I went Monday to Baltimore to Raw. Amazing show. Loved it. It was awesome. So that was, for men's Money in the Bank, it was awesome. I don't know if, Brad, you saw this, but at the end of the Money in the Bank match itself for the men's, Ricochet and Logan Paul actually got into a real fight backstage.
Ooh.
Really?
Because, yes.
Did not see that.
So Logan Paul went after Ricochet, saying that he botched a move and that he, all this stuff happened. Ricochet was upset.
Oh, the table, that table flipped. Oh
Yep.
my gosh, dude! It was
him.
basically like an inverted Spanish fly where they're facing opposite directions.
Yep.
And he flipped over backwards through tables. It was a pretty insane move.
So the WWE is investigating that and put Logan Paul on suspension. So that was kind of.
Yeah, I agree with on the Damian Priest take though. I agree with you 100% on that. I think that he's their next big dog. They've been grooming him for a while, and he's actually made. I think he's done pretty well for himself in the Judgment Day, and I think it's exactly the push that he needed to have there with the Money in the Bank. So that didn't surprise me. I think that again, I think that they're going to kind of let this LA Knight thing simmer for a little bit because he got hot fast.
Yes.
And the thing is, if you want to get somebody who's tried and true, and you're wanting to put them in a title hunt, or if you're wanting to put them in a main storyline, you got to make sure that guy can carry you night in and night out. And again, I love LA Knight. I love. Hey, I kind of like a lot of people say like he's kind of like a Rock ripoff, but in all honesty, that I think he's different from the Rock in a lot of ways. And I'm not going to go down that path, but again, I think that taking inspiration from other great ones who are entertaining, LA Knight is definitely entertaining.
Yeah, he can definitely get the crowd going, and when he talks, like his whole thing is, yeah, dude. Everybody was doing that in Baltimore.
Yeah,
it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the women's Money in the Bank, I thought it was really interesting how Io Sky ended up winning that by handcuffing Becky and Bailey together on the ladder.
So when they did the entrances for Bailey, did you hear what the announcer said?
No.
Part of Judgment Day. That really screwed everybody, and it went all over social media and they're thinking Bailey's going to Judgment Day, and I was like, no, she's part of Damage Control.
Yeah.
The announcer got that wrong, but
yeah, I think Io Sky was definitely the next pick. I mean, that girl she can do crazy stuff, man, and not to mention that you also saw the beginnings of maybe even the splitting of Io Sky from Damage Control because of Bailey tossing the ladder over while Io was up there and screwing her over.
yeah.
So I think that
100%.
storyline is, eventually Io is going to end up with the title, and maybe that's a storyline that either once Io gets the strap that they continue with Bailey in order to have that keep Io as a face and Bailey as heel, because Bailey's been a pretty darn good heel lately.
I agree.
To be quite honest.
The next one that they had was the women's tag match. That honestly shocked the shit out of me, but it didn't at the same time, because I feel like, Shayna Baszler by herself is just a force to be reckoned with in my eyes. The fact that she came out, literally gnarled the hell out of Ronda Rousey and lost them the titles, I think this is going to be a great feud coming up. It's definitely going to be a SummerSlam match. That's given right there. That's SummerSlam. Those two are going to go after it, and it's going to be a bloody mess all over that ring. But I feel like it was kind of a crappy way of Liv and what's her name?
Raquel Rodriguez.
Thank you. To win it. I really want to see them go through a match, because Raquel Rodriguez is, again, a force. I mean, she's one of those wrestlers that if I saw her in a ring, yeah, I'm going the opposite direction and I'm jumping into the crowd and ducking for the whole match. Because
if I saw her in a ring,
nope, not me. But I mean, it was. I guess I can be kind of happy because Liv came back from the injury, and that was that. The Matt Riddle, Gunther. I don't know how the hell you say his name. There's
Gunther.
Yeah, no one's going to beat Gunther. I'm sorry.
Gunther's a badass, man. And the thing is, Riddle's a tough dude as well. And they went chop for chop. Cody dominated Dominic, which you expected. I think
the biggest surprise was Drew McIntyre came back.
Yeah, shoot, and John Cena made an appearance.
John Cena made an appearance. Yep,
I didn't see him.
What's that? He basically came out and was telling them that they're really looking at bringing WrestleMania to London.
Yep.
He pumped him up. He's like, hey, to show him that you deserve a WrestleMania. And so, I mean, it's looking like it will become an international thing. The beginnings with the Saudis are they're making bank over there with those deals. So there's going to be international interest to start doing WrestleManias in different countries.
Yeah, real quick side note, before we kind of, talk about the rest of the card. Does anybody find it interesting, like just kind of like out of nowhere, all of a sudden the pay-per-views are on Saturdays, or whatever you call them, live shows or whatever now, premium lives. I personally like it, but it's like it just happened out of nowhere.
I think they found out that because viewership through like the Sunday, like WrestleMania, everybody's gonna watch WrestleMania Sunday, like that was the big thing. But when you have like these other ones, so like SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, Crown Jewel, like all that on a Sunday, the viewership went down. They put it on a Saturday where people can actually watch it now. The viewership went up a lot.
I think that they used to be afraid to compete with UFC, boxing, all that kind of stuff, because those were always the big Saturday shows.
Yeah.
And now they're not afraid of it. They just go after it now.
I mean, shit, I like it. It's on a Saturday. I can order pizza, kick back, drink beer, and watch it.
And not have to worry about getting up the next morning.
Exactly. So they had Seth Rollins, Finn Balor. Again, like I said,
You mean Seth freaking Rollins?
Dude, Mr. Flamboyant himself. That match, I don't know. I knew they were going to have Seth continue it, but like I said, I think Damian Priest is going to finish what Finn Balor can't, and Finn Balor is going to be gone from the Judgment Day, because it just shows that the real powerhouses for Judgment Day are Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Those two right there, that's Judgment Day. You've got Dirty Dom, who I could,
as much as he's completely unreal.
That's what he is. He's the heat missile.
Yeah, he is, and I love it. I think it's actually pretty creative how they've generated so much heat for such a douchey little kid. You know?
Yes. It was actually kind of funny. So when they came out in Baltimore, everybody was giving them shit. I mean, like, that place erupted, and they were booing them. And it actually, when we were leaving the arena, there was a guy sitting outside selling illegal T-shirts. Totally not.
Those are the best.
Wow, that's a shocker right there. But,
I didn't say fireworks. He said T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because he actually had a couple T-shirts that were inside, and those shirts were like $30. He was selling them for $60, and I was like, I'm gonna go inside and get one instead. And sure enough, they were a little bit cheaper in there. But he was saying that he actually heard everybody booing, and I was like, yeah, I was like, you probably know who that was too. He's like, no, man, I don't watch wrestling. He's like, I'm here to make money. I respect that, sir. And then of course, the final match of the night was the Bloodline Civil War. And I'll be honest with you, it kind of took me by surprise that the Usos won.
I didn't see that coming.
The big thing too was everybody's like, oh, that was a dirty low blow from the Usos to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it's about time.
He got a taste of his own medicine.
A little bit of karma.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of dirty stuff. With everybody there, karma bit him in the ass hard.
Gee, how many times you do that to KO throughout his title run?
Right.
Exactly. And now the big thing that my buddy and I were talking about it, and I think Nas might be in here too. Nas is one of the guys I play arena football with, and we're huge wrestling fans together, and we talk all the time. We talked about this on Tuesday. I have a feeling that this showed the vulnerability of Roman Reigns, and I think that Solo Sikoa is going to come after Roman Reigns now. And if he does, I think there's going to be a new head of the table, and Mr. Paul Heyman is about to get kicked out. So I think it'll be an interesting few months leading up to SummerSlam.
All right, man. It's I couldn't agree more. The match was fire. It was really good. A lot of drama, a lot of intrigue, and to see, I think for a lot of people that have been waiting for the Usos to really take Roman Reigns out. That's starting to, people are starting to see that unfold, and I just wonder when and how long this title reign of Roman Reigns is now going to last, since the bloodline is really kind of coming to an end.
Yep.
Does that mean he continues as just Roman Reigns with the title, or is somebody else next? So I agree. I think going to SummerSlam, there's going to be a lot of good matches coming up.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Well, let's move on and talk about. Let's see. I threw out and we will talk about. I just noticed one of our planned questions was, let's see. What would you do if you had the Stanley Cup for a day? So we'll talk about that. But I also wanted to throw out another question because I didn't even realize we had that question going. But it is, one of the things I always love doing especially when it's slow in the actual sports world, or slower, is watching sports movies. So I posted a question today to give your top 5 sports movies of all time in order, or just your 5 favorite movies. So I thought we'd go around the table. I'll read. In a little bit, I'll read a few of what other people said. But Marco, did you see that question, and have you thought about it?
I saw that question, and then I didn't think too much about it, just because
it's not a real deep question. But
it's not real deep, and a lot of people have problems with like Rudy, and I don't like Notre Dame because Notre Dame is horse fed on us in Chicago, but it is a great sports movie. A lot of people give Any Given Sunday a lot of flack, but that's a fun sports movie that I like to watch. I like For the Love of the Game is a good one.
Yeah, I love that one.
And then you go with the classics when Sandlot, and then I like The Mighty Ducks. So I like those movies.
Okay, all right.
Good sports movies.
Troy, how about you?
Yeah, I kind of have mine broken down into categories per se.
Okay.
I had like 2 hockey movies. I are always been my favorite: Miracle, Mighty Ducks. I love those 2 movies. As far as golf, Tin Cup, Happy Gilmore, Caddyshack. Great movies. Action, your fighting sports, Karate Kid, Rocky IV,
good Karate Kid.
Bloodsport. Yeah, love that one. Yep.
Now, what makes Rocky is I'm going to admit something right here, and this is kind of these shows are kind of therapy for me at sometimes. So I'm gonna open up to you guys and everybody that's going to be watching this. I've never seen any of the Rocky movies all the way through.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. My wife would probably divorce it. No, I'm just kidding.
Did they just lose you at some point, or
there are times when I will not watch movies because people talk about them so much.
Okay.
Which is weird because other movies people talk about.
You feel like you've already seen them, right?
Yeah. So I just and I don't know if the other part of me too is that there's so many movies that come out every year that to go back and watch old ones unless I've seen them like when they were first out and I really liked them. And like when the first Rocky was out, I don't even know how old I was. I know I was alive, but I was probably like a toddler or something like that. So like it wasn't something I watched when it was in the theater. So to go back and watch it again, it's just like, okay, there's other stuff for me to watch. So yeah, that's one of them that same with, I want to say Caddyshack. I've seen plenty of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Caddyshack is on my list.
Front to back. So
you gotta see it. You gotta see it.
Yeah, I have a great Caddyshack story. I forgot that it's rated R. It's PG-13. I don't know. And I was manager of a GameStop and Movies too, which was like a concept where they were going to sell movies because DVDs were going to be hot. And so I threw Caddyshack on the 2 big TV screens there. And there's a scene where they're like, yeah. Totally not appropriate for the general public. Kids, that was not good at all.
Yeah, dude, I had Caddyshack on my list. I mean that, and there were 2 other movies I grew up as a young child watching. It was Major League.
Yep, I have that one on my list.
I know that entire movie front to back. I can say every word. It's kind of pathetic, to be quite honest. But also being from Indiana, that it is like criminal to not watch the movie Hoosiers. So you gotta. But I'd say 2 that I grew up watching and kind of going into adulthood. I love The Waterboy. The Waterboy. I can't get enough of it. I at one point had that recorded on my DVR permanently for like 7 years. That way I could watch it whenever I wanted. Nice. And then being a bowler, I also like I got put in Big Lebowski.
Oh, Kingpin, man!
I like the Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski. I think it's better. I think they're better, just like cooler one-liners. I just enjoy the movie a little bit better.
Nothing beats what's his name?
Kingpin is funny though.
Nobody beats Randy Quaid sitting on the urinal saying, "I can figure some things out for myself."
I can figure some things out.
No, Marco, I got to go back to that. Did you say when Brad said Hoosiers, you've never seen Hoosiers?
Never seen Hoosiers.
Really?
I watched it, but it loses me. It gets too slow for me.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, TJ, what about your list?
So it's going to definitely show my age. It's more.
I was going to say you're the youngest one here by far, so I mean, this will be interesting. Go ahead.
Hot Wheels.
No, so my I think my number, like not even any particular order. I love Friday Night Lights. I mean, that's
okay.
Yeah,
I could buy that.
I have a bunch of family in Texas, and I actually went to Odessa Permian to watch a game when I was little. What they show is real life. They shut down towns just to watch football. I mean, and it's
crazy.
awesome
It's crazy down in Texas. I mean, you got stadiums that hold 20,000 for a high school football game, and that's just nuts.
And
anyway,
I actually got to meet Boobie Miles when I went down there, and God rest his soul, he did pass away this year. He's the nicest man you will ever meet. I mean, he's super cool, super chill. I mean, we lost him at a very young age this year, but he's definitely one of those guys that, that movie definitely showed us, what football is really about down in Texas.
Yeah.
Another movie that I love watching, and actually my wife came down one night, I couldn't fall asleep and I started watching it, was Never Back Down. It's a like underground UFC fighting.
Okay.
It's really good. Really good movie. Waterboy is definitely on there for me. I mean, how can you not like the Waterboy? It's funny as hell. I mean, every kid.
Alligators mean because they got all damn teeth and no toothbrush.
And we were quoting it today because I was working in DC and this girl's walking around topless. I was like, she showed me her boobies and I like them too.
And I like them too.
So Waterboy's on there. Happy Gilmore, of course. I mean, everybody can't get enough of Happy Gilmore. But I think my number one movie that I loved watching, and my grandfather actually showed it to me when I was really young, and I always watched it. Never understood it, at a young age, but then growing up, I kind of figured out what it was. Brian's Song, the original Brian Song movie.
Yeah, and I've never seen that one either. And I think
sad movie,
because
dude.
Exactly, and that's why it's like if I know I'm gonna start tearing up. It's like Field of Dreams. I couldn't watch for years because it reminded me of my dad and I, and that was tough. And so I just stopped watching it because I'm like, I don't need to bawl. I mean, I'm good right now, So I've heard good things about Brian.
Sometimes you need to, man.
I've heard good things about Brian's Song, but I've also heard that it's like kind of like the sports version of Old Yeller. I mean, like where it's just
very,
it's gonna
very
make you
true.
cry,
Yep.
and So
and I have two movies that were like my 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So The Little Giants.
Okay.
Yes, dude.
Little
Giants.
The Little Giants was my favorite movie growing up, and I actually coaching right now. I have a girl on my football team for my 13, 14-year team. Her nickname is Icebox because she can lay a hammer.
Nice.
And we gave her 56 this year.
Nice.
I was like, Icebox on the back of it.
Cool.
Okay, so
can I throw one more oddball out there because I want to see if you guys know it because I'm in this. I love this movie and I loved it since I was a little kid and it's I'll give you guys a little clue just to see if anybody else knows what it is. It's about BMX racing.
Rad?
Yes. Yes. Oh my god, I freaking love that movie. Oh my gosh. Anybody else ever see that between Marco and I?
No,
That's it?
I don't think I ever did.
Oh man, it's so cheesy 80, but it's so good.
There's another movie that Brad, it's a very religious movie, but it's about football. It's called Facing the Giants.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I know it's not based on a true story, but the high school that it's based off of, where they filmed that, was where my best friend actually played high school football, and he was in that movie.
That's cool.
Oh, really?
And
nice.
Yeah. So every time that he comes over, he's like, "We're watching it." I was like,
Does he get residuals or what?
Yeah, he gets residuals every time. Okay.
I just played on repeat at my house all day.
Yeah. No, that's not a bad movie. I like that movie. I mean, you could tell it's like a kind of a church, like not the biggest budget, whatever. But I mean, I enjoyed it anyway. Okay, so let me give you my 5 real quick, and then we'll go on to the Stanley Cup question. So, and I'm more into I like all the ones that you guys mentioned, especially like the Waterboy and Happy Gilmore, all those. But I have to admit, and my wife kind of rolls her eyes about this because she likes comedy movies. So when we watch, movies, she loves comedies, even if they're sports ones. But me, I'm more of like into the drama or the serious kind of stuff. So, my list is, Hoosiers is on there for basketball, but Coach Carter is a close second.
Dude, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Coach Carter.
Yeah.
And I can understand, Marco, was it you or Troy that said that Hoosiers loses you?
Me.
Yeah, and I get that, but there's something nostalgic about it. Like it just, I mean, just kind of that.
Sure.
What is it?
I
Set
get
in the 50s or 50s or 60s or whatever. I just sometimes I kind of like enjoy watching the older stuff because it just reminds me of a simpler time. Anyway, so those are the two basketball ones. There's another Cinderella Man. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one.
Yeah, Russell Crowe is a boxer.
Yep. I love that movie. Greatest game ever played, golf movie.
with
with Shia LaBeouf. Great. That's a great movie. And then a couple, the last two baseball ones, I would have to say it's close between The Natural and Field of Dreams. But then one of my favorites ever, and I don't know, it could have been like an HBO original or something. I'd have to look on the box. It's called Soul of the Game. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this. It's basically about the final season of Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige, and Josh Gibson when they were all playing together in the Negro Leagues, and then Robinson got signed to the majors. It's a fantastic movie. If you ever get a chance to watch it, once we start really getting going with content on a regular basis, one of my goals is to do like a weekly sports movie where I just stream one on the channel, and that's definitely one of them. Like before the baseball season starts or whatever, I want to do. But there's some rights issues there. So
there's one movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if it is considered sports, but Cool Runnings.
Ah, that's a good one.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
That one always just cracked me up. And then was it Rookie of the Year with Henry Rosenberger?
Rosenberger, yeah.
And then
Rothenfrogger.
Angels in the Outfield, the Rookie with Dennis Quaid.
This guy just stole mine. I was going to say Days of Thunder and Talladega Nights. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I heard rumors of a sequel to Days of Thunder.
Did you really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like Top Gun, huh?
Yeah.
There's a third.
Hey, man. Cole Trickle's in the band.
All right. Well, here, let me read a couple quick from some of our members here, because I said I would.
Nicole Kidman was fine.
Yeah.
The hottest neurosurgeon I've ever seen. Anyway, okay. So Aaron Lowe, I'm going to mention some of his because he actually said a few that we didn't say. He mentions Goal, The Dream Begins. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Draft Day.
Yes.
Above the Rim. I remember watching that one when I was younger.
Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, well, yeah, similar kind of thing. For Love of the Game, we mentioned that. Mystery Alaska, he said too. And I'm trying. Is that hockey?
It's got to be hockey.
I think it's hockey too. So, and then James Moeller mentioned. He mentioned Kingpin, but another one he mentioned that I absolutely love, and I'll accept this, James, because yes, ESPN does show World Series of Poker. Rounders was fantastic. I love that movie.
I don't know that.
Rounders was good.
It's about Texas Hold'em. Actually got me into Texas Hold'em.
Hey, this man, his money.
I love John Malkovich was fantastic in that movie.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, well, for sure. And then Blue Chips, someone mentioned. Brian Herr mentioned Blue Chips. It was one of his.
He's a friend of mine. I went to high school with him.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that was a pretty good movie.
He's a big basketball guy. He was actually in the 1996 NBA draft with Kobe. So
really
cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nice.
I mean, he didn't play high school ball. He just played rec ball at the Y. But he put together a tape, and David Stern accepted it and put him in the draft. So he still has that under his name to this day. He was part of the 1996 NBA draft.
That's cool.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the program. Somebody mentioned the program was one that we didn't mention. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Let's say Gridiron Gangs.
That's a good one.
I'm not familiar with that.
Blind Side.
Blind Side is a good one. Yep.
It shows you can buy people and do whatever you want with them. That kind of didn't. The message of that movie didn't really come out the way I think they wanted it to.
Oh my gosh.
Bad News Bears. Yeah.
Bad News Bears.
2 of them, right?
There's a couple iterations of them.
Yeah.
Moneyball.
I don't think any of us mentioned.
Moneyball.
That's a good one. The other one, and I don't think any of us mentioned either. Trouble with the Curve.
Don't know that one.
I enjoy. It's got Clint Eastwood. And
he plays a scout with it, like
his
daughter's a scout or something.
Yeah. He's a scout, and his daughter's a lawyer, but she grew up going to the game, the games with them. Justin Timberlake is in that. Actually does a really good job. I enjoyed that movie too.
Braves. So. I'm surprised you haven't seen that, Troy.
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So all right, let's get on to the last question, then we'll wrap up. So the Stanley Cup.
Hey, just real quick, does Fast and the Furious count?
No.
See, that is another one. And my wife almost divorced me when I told her that. I have never seen any Fast and Furious all the way through. And again, it's another one where
you're not missing anything, dude.
What would you say?
You're not missing anything.
You've
seen one, you've seen all 10.
I don't
and that's just it. Like, I know people who are at, like, when the new one comes out, they're there like opening night. I'm like, I don't know, like, what more can you see? I don't know, whatever. So, okay, so Stanley Cup. I think we had talked a while back about what if you could win one of the trophies, or maybe this was just in our chat. I don't know if we even put this out.
It might have been, yeah.
We had talked about if you could win one of the if you any of the big trophies, Super Bowl trophy, the what's the name of the NBA trophy? Whatever, you understand what I'm saying.
Larry O'Brien.
Larry O'Brien. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think the consensus was in our group wasn't unanimous, but it was kind of everyone kind of seemed to really gravitate toward the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
So the question is, if you had the Stanley Cup for a day, what would you do with it? And Brad, I'll start with you.
What would I do? Well, I just came back from the lake, so I think me and the Stanley Cup would have to take a nice trip to the lake. We get our own little rafts next to each other, and I'll fill that Stanley Cup up with our homemade on what we call the GL7, Gin Levin 7-Up, and let's start taking some turns out of the Stanley Cup. So it's, I think that'll do just fine.
Okay, TJ, how about you?
I would put Fruity Pebbles in there and just eat it for the day. Just
eat Fruity Pebbles.
Going inside that cup.
All right. That's all you just eat? Fruity Pebbles, huh? Just sit there on your couch.
Probably some mashed potatoes, and I kind of like what this guy just said. I would definitely chug some beer out of that thing. I would.
Would you use beer instead of milk with the Fruity Pebbles?
I'd use vodka, sir.
Oh.
So you're planning on not being coherent the next day.
He's trying. He's going like Tom Brady, freaking celebration parade drunk.
I'm doing what Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals did. They partied so hard with the cup here in DC that they like swam with it. They brought it to Nats Park. They actually put like all their popcorn and nachos and beer inside of it while walking around with it. And the day of the parade, they actually dropped it off of the bus. So, yeah,
good job. Way to go, Capitals.
Okay.
They have a stunt cup for the parties, and then there's the actual cup. So there's two cups. Have you guys ever gone cup hunting? Like in Chicago, we were blessed with 3 summers of being able to go and try to find it where it's at, because it would be at different bars, different parties, different clubs, and we would spend days like searching for it, and it was awesome. I never got a chance to party with the cup, but I would not drink out of it. One of the radio hosts here in Chicago on ESPN 1000, he's dead set that he got a stomach virus that has plagued him for years now from that night partying with the cup. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, there's some crazy things that go on that cup. And it's tough to clean it out during the party.
Okay, well, Marco, what would you do with it for a day?
I'd probably have like the biggest block party in the village, and we would just have everybody come hang out with it and just kind of be, the hottest ticket in town and just kind of party with it. I mean, it's not a lifelong goal to have it and spend it. These guys are cool when they get to go to their like home village in freaking Slovakia or something and party with it and stuff when they get it for a day. It's pretty cool, but I would probably just party with it with everybody and, a couple thousand of my closest friends.
Troy, how about you?
I mean, there's no way that thing's not going through a table with me. I mean, I mean, wherever. I mean, I know the Sabres will never see a Stanley Cup, so I'll take it up to Buffalo, go through a table. That'll be the closest they ever get to the Cup. Maybe I'll take it over to Hershey since they've only ever had Calder Cups there and never the Stanley Cup. But I don't know. It just, to be honest and to be, truthful about the whole situation, like just to hold that thing would just be freaking amazing. All the history behind that darn thing and how long it's been around and how many people have held it and how many names are on that thing. It's just incredible. And it would just be an honor just to touch that darn thing. Honestly, like it's such a cool thing. And I think that's why we all picked the Stanley Cup, just because of the history behind that thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just
okay. So clue a guy in here that really only focuses for the most part on football. Who do they put, like the MVP of the final?
They put the whole team on there.
The whole team, every coach, everybody. Yep. You live forever on that cup.
Yep.
But now, is there one that travels with each to each team each year, or do you get you get it and you get to put it in your front office for the because I know for
I'm
football,
sure they make a replica, but yeah.
Okay, so the main one though, does it just?
It's always in the NHL Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the NHL Hall of Fame. It actually sits behind a case, and every year when they put new names, and if it has to go up a tier comes off of the Stanley Cup. So it only shows, I think this year it only went up to 1960 was the very top of the cup.
Okay.
It's about 50 years or something like that. Yeah.
Every 50 years, they'll rebuild it, but when they take it off, they actually have all those sitting in the Hall of Fame. So you can still see original parts of the original Stanley Cup and stuff like that. But every time it goes up a tier, it fills up the bottom tier, it'll go up one, it starts filling up again, and it just goes all the way up. So, I mean, God, when my kids are old enough and they have kids, the 2011 Bruins are not even going to be on that one. The Capitals are not going to be on that one. So it's just they keep doing it every time it fills up the bottom, it goes up a tier. They'll take it off, put new ones on.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Troy, you said that the Stanley Cup has never been to Hershey. That's a lie.
No. I said they can't win the Stanley Cup. Yeah.
But it made a trip up to Hershey when the Capitals won it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Yep, they brought it.
Yeah, because I'm sure some of them teams were on the Hershey team as well. So. Yep. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, what year did the Capitals win it?
2000. The first year that the
18, I think.
It was 17 or 18.
Okay, because I know the Bears won back-to-back in 6. I think it was actually 2007, 2008. So I'm guessing a few of those Bears players were probably on that Capitals team as well then.
It was 2018.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know the Bears won back-to-back because that was the last time they won before they won it this year again. So.
Okay. All right. Well, here, why don't we end it with just kind of recapping what everybody, curious what everybody did for the 4th of July. So, Brad, I know you were just on vacation, but technically you still have 2 or 3 weeks left of vacation?
Technically got 3 weeks left, and actually on Monday, July 24th is when I got to report back. So I'll be kind of between the next 3 weeks, I'll be in and out of the school to check out my classroom, see what can be set up and be done ahead of time, and I got to start planning for a new chemistry class I'm teaching this upcoming school year. So
nice.
Here we go. This will be a keep your head above water year.
Walter White right here. Dad's with bacon meth cooker.
So now, but where were you for the 4th of July? You were at the lake?
Yeah, I was at the lake. Shot a whole bunch of fireworks off. Did all the traditional 4th of July stuff, and it was pretty nice. Shoot, here it was nice and warm and sunny on Tuesday, but most of the weekend it was the 4th of July weekend per se was kind of wet around here, so it was kind of a little bit meh.
Okay. Now, TJ, you said your buddy and his dad bought $30,000 in fireworks. Nobody blew off any fingers, did they? Or...
No, but I singed some arm hair off.
Oh, jeez. That always smells amazing.
Really? Yeah. Nice. I'm sure your wife enjoyed that.
It was actually kind of funny too. So going into the weekend, I thought I had Monday off, And then I wake up, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to work. I'm off today. And my wife like smacks me across the head and goes, babe, it's only the 3rd. You still have to go to work. And I'm like, let me call in. So I call and they're like, yeah, you were supposed to be in here like an hour ago. And I'm like, what time is it? It was like 9:00. So I was like, damn it. All right. Cool. So I worked Monday, which really sucked because I had a great weekend. I had 2 parties I went to pre-4th of July because one so it was like my adoptive family. I played hockey and football with him. They actually went to Italy for a wedding on the 4th, and then the other one was just like a bunch of guys from my high school that I played football with. We had a 4th of July football party, and we had a massive like reunion playing flag football and everything. It was pretty fun. But yeah, so Tuesday I went to my buddy's house and we found out how much liquor I can hold, and it is a full bottle of tequila and 12 beers. And let's just say the song Tequila Makes Your Clothes Fall Off, it makes TJ's clothes fall off too.
Okay.
Oh, noted.
All right. Hey.
No tequila when we get together, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Troy, how about you?
Well, I mean, I had a long vacation as well. We went down to Virginia Beach. We were there from Sunday till last Thursday, and then we went to my uncle's house, who I've mentioned on this show before too. He's the former pararescue. He's Air Force veteran, and he does he has a nonprofit organization called That Others May Rise, and I'd appreciate if you guys check that out at all. It's really for a good cause. It's all 100% nonprofit. He doesn't keep any of it, no dime. But anyway, we spent the 4th. Well, we were there till the 3rd technically, and we saw some fireworks and stuff down there, and then came home. And then on the 4th, actually, just did a lot of yard work and stuff like that, catching up from our time off on vacation and all that kind of fun stuff. And then where we're at, there's a local park. It's pretty close to us, and they were shooting fireworks off, so we could see them from our house here and stuff. But
nice.
Yeah, that was it. But it was a joyous vacation down in Virginia. Enjoyed every minute of it. So did not want to come back home.
Yeah, that's the part that sucks about vacation is coming back home. Yeah. Marco, how about you? You said you told me it was kind of mellow.
Yeah, stayed home, stayed local. We have a new dog that we inherited, and he's really jumpy. So like if a car door closes, he starts yelping. So we didn't know how he was going to do with the fireworks.
Sure.
He did all right. And then we got all the rain we needed in 2 months in one day on, I think it was Sunday. So got a lot of water in my basement. Never buying another house built in 1944.
Oh, that sucks.
But I got a good system set up. We've tried to fix it. We've had a bad plumber come and fix it, and it's just the old house. It's the biggest secret in the world that this village takes on water. Everybody in town took on water, but other than that, those pretty laid back, nice holiday.
Nice. Yeah,
you?
we kind of we're the same. We're one of my wife's good friends. Her landlord is also, I think he owns a construction company or something. I mean, he's money coming out of his ears, and so every year, and they happen to live right across the street from her house that she rents. So every year they put on their own private like fireworks show on their property that pretty much anybody in the neighborhood can see, So we end up, I mean, we've done this for the last probably 5 years, and normally one of her daughters, it was her birthday, I think at the end of last week. So normally this is the first year they haven't incorporated her birthday party with the 4th of July. So normally we'll go over, the kids swim in the pool, they have fun, we do the birthday thing, and then we go in the front yard and watch the fireworks. This year it wasn't really the birthday thing, it was just the fireworks, but it was still great. I mean, it was, it's a nice time. You don't have to fight the traffic because apparently in downtown Green Bay they had like 100,000 people for their fireworks thing, which I'm kind of curious as to how they came up with the 100,000 number, but whatever. Needless to say, we got to avoid the crowd, and it was just it was a good time. And then you get home in 5 minutes and you're all good to go. So I'm not I'm not a huge
to Beer Buzz.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and what sucked too was that I also TJ had to work on Monday, and and then obviously I had to work yesterday, so which pretty much everybody else did. But it would have been nice to have the 4-day weekend, but we didn't really have anything planned to go anywhere. So it was like, I would say ours was more chill also, but it was sometimes you just need that. I've told my wife before, there are times I just want to sit on my ass at home and do nothing. And I think that's like just as much a vacation as anything else. So
work on that dad bod.
What was it? Yeah,
work on that dad bod, right?
Yes, and we have to we have to figure out for the next show that intro with that song. So if you listen next week, we'll be introing a new song, and maybe even Troy, maybe see if he wants to come on and talk a little bit about the
I bet
song,
he'd love to come on. Yeah, I bet he'd love to come on. Yeah, he's a really great dude from Oklahoma. So yeah,
cool.
I'm sure he'd love to come on.
All right, well, yeah. So we might have a guest next week if he's available, and talk about the new Dads with Bacon theme song for now. So anyway, so yeah, everybody have a great week, and enjoy the baseball All-Star game if you're a baseball fan, and if not, well, just enjoy your weekend and chill out with your family. So take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.